Hey everyone, just wanted to go through and give my thoughts on the Shimmering Skies cards. All of these reviews are going to be based on their competitive viability. S is going to be a staple of a meta deck. A is going to be a card that will definitely see play. It'll just be questionable in quantities. B's will be fringe cards or some sort of tech cards. C will be a card that I think is fun and has some sort of synergy, but the synergy just isn't quite there yet for a meta deck. Or is just an off meta kind of fun build around. And then D are cards I think are just left best for limited. All right, first card, a Coda, 2-cost inkable, 2/1 that quests for 2, and it says during your opponent's turns, you can't lose lore. This would need to mean that Ruby's cards that cause you to lose lore are really prevalent, and you would need it, or you would play it in an aggro deck. I don't think that that's going to be the case, so I'm just going to leave it in C for right now. Again, it could C play, but it would really be dependent on other factors. Otherwise, there are much better cards. Next card is our Nala. Nala is a 1-cost inkable, 0/4. This is a D. The only time you would play this is if there's a Nala legendary to shift onto. There's not, so otherwise it is unplayable at the moment. Next is Prince Naveen, an exciting card. It's a 4-cost uninkable, 3/3 that quests for 2. It has Singer 6 and the ability when you play this character, you may play a song with cost 6 or less for free. I think this has a similar effect to. It has a really potential to do a lot. The uninkability of it, I think, is going to hurt it from being, a 4 of in Amber Steel decks. And also, at the moment, there aren't as many strong 6-cost songs to get the full value out of it. I still think, being able to play this and A Whole New World simultaneously, being able to do this and bring down an Along Came Zeus so you don't lose board tempo, but you also can help, get rid of some of their creatures is really strong. I don't know how much room for uninkables that has with all the uninkable songs, like Grab Your Swords, Whole New World, Let the Storm Rage On, and stuff like that. I think it's a really strong card. May be undervaluing it a little bit at A, but I just think because of the uninkability, it wouldn't be able to run 4 of, which would kind of keep it from S. But again, I think it's a really exciting card, really good card nonetheless. Next, Rut, 4-cost inkable, 3/4 with support that quests for 1. This is D. It's not going to see play. Kanai Big Brother, 2-cost inkable, 1/4 with effectively Coda Bodyguard. When this character is exerted, your character's name Coda can't be challenged. It quests for 1. Again, D. I think that just running a different bodyguard is probably better, and maybe if that Coda sees a lot of play, then the other one that might, but that's a stretch, I think. Next is a Vanellope von Schweetz. It's a 2/2 1-cost inkable that quests for 1. This would again just be a shift target. I'll put it in C because you want to run the Floodborn of this, or maybe you want to run a Wreck-It Ralph deck or something like that. I think that this can definitely be used as a shift target, and we'll look at the Floodborn a little bit later. Also, I don't know why this set they decided to switch from the alphabetical numbering. I think it's going to be a pain to organize cards this year, or for this set, not this year. Great. Took 4-cost inkable, 4/4 quest for 1. What can I say that is not playable? Not too much more to it. Next card, Lilo, 2-cost, 1/3 support, quest for 1. I don't think the support really matters on that. Again, I think that it's not playable. Vanellope von Schweetz, another one, 2-cost inkable, 2/2. Whenever this character quests, chosen opposing character gets -1 strength until the start of your next turn. Quest for 1. I don't see this good enough to be getting play. It's like an ice block on a body where you quest, but it only quests for 1. I just don't think it's quite there. Maybe a little bit of synergy in a Amber Emerald deck, but I don't think so. Fix It Felix Jr., a 2/4 bodyguard that costs 3 and is inkable, a quest for 1. I don't think that this is playable either. I think this is D. At this cost, you probably rather play the Donald Duck from last set, maybe the Baloo. The 4 is fine, but I don't know. It doesn't do anything else exciting, and I think for cards to start seeing play, they need to do something else that's a little bit exciting. The Gazelle Popstar. It is a 3-cost inkable 2/3 that quests for 2 and Singer 5. The Singer 5 and the questing for 2 are kind of going against each other. You're getting less stats for, like, ideally you probably want to play this in a Steel Song deck similar to an Ariel or the Gaston, but you're getting less stats for questing when mainly this wants to sing. So those two are just kind of working against each other a little bit. It might be nice to have a singer that can quest for a little bit more, where some of the Steel Songs tend to lean on the aggressive side when they're not singing. So I'll put it in C. Yeah, I'll put it in B. No, I'll leave it in C. It's a high C for sure. I guess I'm not really going to do order, but I'll put it there. Again, I don't think it will see too much play. Like, no, actually, I'll put it in B. Let's put it in B. I'll put it in B. I think it's a low B, but again, some Steel Song decks may want to play that just to, depending on, a meta call or something like going on there. I think that fits for B. Fix-It Felix Jr. It's a Floodborn. It's 5-cost inkable 4/5 that you can shift for 3. It quests for 1, and your locations get +2 willpower. This is an interesting card. I'm going to put it in C for right now. I don't think it slots into any decks that are going on. Like maybe you want to build a location matter deck, but I think the ability to give your locations +2 willpower seems pretty strong. It just wouldn't. The reason I think it's a little bit low is that you're not going to play it on curve, right? I don't think you're going to play a 1-cost location. I don't know if there's any 2-cost locations that are really strong yet, but I just, I think the idea is there, and giving something, an extra 2 can put something out of Maui range, or again, just make it really tough to commit a lot to kill it. But as it is right now, I don't think that there's a spot for it. The next card is a Kristoff Reindeer Keeper. It's a 9-cost uninkable 3/7. It quests for 3, and it says for each song card in your discard, you pay 1 less to play this character. It also has Bodyguard. For this card, I would say that this is a high B. I'm going to put it above the Gazelle. It could go in A. I just don't. I'm not 100% sure if it will see play, if there's enough room in that deck for it. It is a nice payoff for playing a lot of songs, and as the game goes on, this is just going to be less and less. So you could, just try to stall out the game. Your last turn, play a Kristoff or 2 and try to close it out that way. It is nice that the songs don't get shuffled back in for the sake of being able to play multiple of these cards. The first card that we ever saw like this was the Chernabog, and it shuffled the characters back into the deck, so you couldn't play multiple Chernabogs, right? It would kind of just reset itself, and then you have to build up the count again. So the fact that it keeps the songs in there is nice for being able to play multiple of these. I just think that it's a little bit too narrow and straying from, all the tools that Steel Song has to see heavy play. But I definitely think it could have a place depending on the meta, and some people will try to brew with it for sure. So high B. Next is the Mirabelle. It's a 5-cost inkable, 5 strength, 5 willpower, quest for 5, but you can't play this character unless you have 5 or more characters in play. I really struggle to see what deck this would fit in. It's, I think, almost impossible to play it on curve, and even then, it's like you can't have one of your characters die if you were to do that. I'm going to leave it in C. I don't know. It feels bad to put a legendary all the way in D. I guess I'm sure there will people that will try to find ways to cheat it out, but the fact that, it avoids the Mufasa, it avoids any sort of ways of, just in time or something like that of getting it out there. I think that it's really narrow, but I'm sure, I'd love for people to find a way for it, because being able to quest for 5 seems pretty good, but I think it's just too restrictive to see in most competitive decks. Minnie Mouse Drum Major. It's a 5-cost inkable 4/4 that quests for 2. It does shift on 4, and it has the ability when you play this character, if you use shift to play her, you may search your deck for a character card and reveal that card to all players, shuffle it, and put that card on top of it. So you're tutoring out a card you're putting on the top of your deck. It is specifically a character card. Yep. Right. So ideal place for this is in Amber, Ruby, Mufasa. You play this, you shift it onto a mini, which is figuring out, part of it is figuring out which one that would work for. You put a Maleficent or something, Maleficent Dragon on the top of your deck, you trade your Mufasa, and then you can get that effect from it. I think it's a little narrow. I think people will try to work with it, but I just don't think it will see play. I think having to shift to get the ability makes it a little bit narrow, and that is also like conditional where you don't get it in your hand right away. Like the Merlin we'll see a little bit later, but you have to also have a Mufasa on the board and you get it next turn. So I don't know. I think I'll leave it in C. I definitely think there will be some fun ways to build it. I just don't think that it is going to be competitively viable. Next card, Daisy Duck. It is a 1-cost uninkable 1/4 that quests for 2, and it says whenever this character quests, each opponent reveals the top card of their deck. If it's a character card, they may put it into their hand. Otherwise, they bottom it on the top of their deck. This card is getting a lot of hype, and I think for good reason. It is going to put aggro into the competitive scene, I believe. Having 4 willpower on turn 1, that quest for 2 is going to be really tough to deal with, and decks I think are going to have to build to be able to handle this. If not, it will just run away with the game. The downside is you are giving your opponent some form of card advantage, but a lot of the cards that could deal with this easily are going to be action cards or song cards, and those being, bottom to the top of the deck and kind of away, I think are outweigh the costs of them getting more characters into their hand. And the goal is that you just win the game before they can even take advantage of the card advantage that they have. I think it works great in an aggro deck, and I think you're going to see a lot of it. So, easy S. I think best card in Amber. Next is Fix It Felix Jr., a 2-cost inkable 1/3, a quest for 1, and it says when you play this character, if you have a location in play, draw a card. I think that if a location deck ever really comes through, this is going to be a auto include, being able to, you get a card, it pays for itself right away. I think that that's going to be great. I just don't think that deck's right there right now. But again, these location matter cards I think are pretty cool. Moana, Determined Explorer, a 3-cost uninkable. It is a 3/4 that quests for 2. I don't know. I've heard different opinions on this card. Truthfully, I'm not sold on it. I'll keep it in C. I think the only reason it's in C, well, not the only reason, but excuse me, 3/4 that quest for 2 I think are good stats. Is the 1 extra willpower worth the uninkability? So the reason I say that is in set 1 we got a Mickey Mouse that was 3/3 quest for 2, cost 3, and is inkable. With this, we get 1 extra willpower, which I don't know if that's worth the uninkability. Where this would probably see some play is it has the princess tag. That's the only difference between this and that Mickey, is the fact that it has a princess tag and the 1 extra health and uninkable. And in a deck like that, I think it could see some purpose, but other than that, I don't think uninkable cards are so hard to fit in. So the fact that this doesn't really offer anything else besides that, I don't think it's going to see any competitive play. Here's our Vanellope von Schweetz Floodborn. It's a 4-cost inkable 2/4. It shifts for 2, which is nice. It quests for 2, and it says whenever you play another princess character, all opposing characters get -1 until the start of your next turn. So I'm going to put this in C as well. Again, I think that princess deck just isn't quite there competitively yet, but the ability to get it when you play another princess character. So you shift this down. Next turn, maybe you play out a couple. This kind of like aggro princess deck that makes it really hard for your opponent to make trades and to take care of the board. We're starting to see the pieces of it. I don't think Daisy Duck's a princess. If she was, it would be interesting. But again, for C right now, I don't think it's going to fit into any meta decks, but it's starting to see some like fun princess aggro build arounds. Alan 4-cost inkable 2/3, quest for 2, and it says whenever you play a song, gain 1 lore. For this, I'm going to put this in B. I think that, again, not an auto include in Amber Steel, but it definitely has a place. Similar to, Sleepy's Flute. I think with the fact that this is a body, that it quests for 2, that it's anytime you play a song, not just checking if you play one song or not. I think that makes it a lot more valuable. The fact that it's inkable, again, you're starting to be able to play other uninkable. So I would say that gives it a lot of merit to be played, but I think it's going to be one of those cards that will probably go back and forth depending on what the meta is. Next card is Wreck-It Ralph, a 7-cost uninkable 6/7, quest for 2, and it has the ability when you play this character, return a character card from your discard to your hand. If that card is a princess character card, gain 2 lore. I guess I'll just put it in C. Again, I think in that aggro deck, getting up to 7 seems probably pretty hard to get to, and the fact that it's uninkable really kills it. Again, it's at least has some sort of synergy with princess cards and being able, and we're seeing that aggro theme again where you're gaining extra lore, so I think that's fine and gives it a C, but again, not competitive. Maid Marian, this is a princess as well. 6-cost inkable 4/5, the quest for 2. When you play this character, chosen opposing character gets -5 until the start of your next turn. We're seeing a lot of these themes. This one's okay statted. Questing for 2 is fine. It's a princess, but I don't know. I'm going to put this one in D. I don't think this is going to really see too much play. Sven, 4-cost inkable 3/3, quest for 2. When you play this character, you may ready chosen character. They can't quest or challenge for the rest of turn. So you're using this to ready up a singer. A 4-cost 3/3 that quests for 2. It's okay, right? Is it good enough to see play? No, probably not. Let's go in D. Minnie Mouse, 4-cost inkable 1/5. Whenever this character quests, you may remove up to 2 damage from chosen character. Again, not enough reason for this to be played. The 1/5 hurts. Removing damage. There's no other payoffs like a Grand Pabby deck, but I don't think that's going to really fit in that. Try everything. Remove up to 3 damage from chosen character and ready them. They can't quest or challenge for the rest of turn. Let's put that in D as well. For a lot of the same reasons we've talked about with other cards, I just think these don't have enough of an impact to be worth it to play. Remove up to 4 damage from a chosen character. Draw a card. This would be a lot better if it was a song. It's not. D. Revive. Play a character card with cost 5 or less from your discard for free. It is a 5-cost uninkable. I've been thinking about this card. I know a lot of people aren't too high on it. I like the card. I think that being able to choose, I'm going to put it in B, being able to play through a game, have a repository of cards in your discard pile, and being able to play one of them that's 5 or less for free and you can choose which one. I think that's pretty strong. You can get your Ariel if you need to dig further for the whole new world. You can get a Rapunzel if you need to get more draw. If you're playing a Mufasa deck, you can play Mufasa, but I don't think that's really the best use of it. If you have a whole new world in your hand, you could play this. You could get the new Prince Naveen, and then he could do that. You could play it with a Jim Hawkins and get a lot of value. I think that being able to, bring back one of your cards that's core to your game plan and to have the flexibility to do it depending on where you're at in the game, I think that seems pretty strong. So I'm going to put it in B. Again, with it uninkable, it's not going to be a 4 of, but I think that there's definitely some value to this. A Blast from Your Past. It is a 6-cost song, uninkable, that says name a card, return all character cards with that name from your discard to your hand. Whew. I think that this probably sits somewhere along the side of Revive. The fact that it's a song makes it really nice. Obviously, this is something, one of the key targets when you're playing with Prince Naveen. Now, is there more value to just getting the cards in your hand? I think that as soon as you see the word free, I think that to me that means a lot more, where this you just get them into your hand, which is still great. You get the card for free by singing it, so that's really, really nice. And the ability to get multiple Rapunzels into your hand, multiple. I'm trying to think of what else you would want multiple. Like maybe you want multiple of your piglets to get out on the board, multiple Mr. Smees. The fact that you can get multiple, again, a little bit more conditional, but I think that there's value to it. The fact that it's a song really helps it out, and you can play it for free with Prince Naveen. Invited to the Ball, 2-cost uninkable. Reveal the top 2 cards of your deck. Put the revealed character cards into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. I'll put this in a C. I think that if it were to see play, it would be in some sort of, Mufasa all characters deck. The fact that it's an action kind of takes away from it, but if you are playing all characters, a 2-cost, like, draw 2 cards seems pretty good, and especially in that where normally they struggle for card draw, but they've gotten a lot more tools to do it with all the damage characters, so maybe this isn't as valuable. Healing Decanter, 2-cost inkable item. You can exert it to remove 2 damage from chosen character. That is a D. These healing effects, unfortunately, I think are not very good. 2-cost inkable Queen Sensor Core. At the start of your turn, if you have a princess or queen character in play, gain 1 lore. You can exert it and pay 2 to reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a princess or a queen character card, you may put it into your hand. Otherwise, put it at the top of your deck. Again, another piece for this princess deck. Pretty interesting. Again, I don't think the princess deck is at the point to make any competitive viability, which is why it's staying in C, but definitely a core piece if you're trying to build a princess or queen deck, because card draw when you need it, and then you get lore every turn. Amberchromicon, 2-cost uninkable that you can exert for free, where you remove up to 1 damage from each of your characters. This one being each character, I'll put it in C strictly for the Pabby decks, where this is going to give you multiple triggers of the lore. I think this will be a combo piece towards that deck, but whether that deck sees competitive viability, I do not think so. Next is Rapunzel's Tower. It's a 2-cost inkable. It has 8 willpower, costs 1 to move there, and characters get +3 while here. That is interesting. I'm going to put it in C. I think C is kind of just like my catch-all place. And being able to get 3 extra health is I think, really good. Again, you probably want to see this either in a healing deck. I mean, you could probably maybe see it in an aggro deck if you want to have your characters have a little bit bigger butts. But again, I don't think it will see too much play, so we'll leave it in C. But I think that it has the ability to give a character 3 extra willpower. It can be beneficial. Pride Lands, 3-cost inkable, 8 willpower with cost 2 to move there. While you have 3 or more characters here, you may banish this location to play a character from your discard for free. I think that that's a lot to try to meet. I think that that's a D. But there are all the amber cards. I have 5 more colors to go. Thank you for watching, and please check out the other ones. See you.